Hey everybody, welcome to the HIT.OR.DIE podcast with your hosts Jake Saldati and Chad Rothford. We are here with episode 147.
It's been a couple weeks, my friend.
Yeah, it's going to be every couple weeks. It seems like.
How are you hanging? How are you hanging in there?
I'm not hanging anyway. This is going to be the longest year of my life.
You're surviving thus far.
Thus far, I am. It doesn't really help that school's a pain in the butt right now. Like, it's destroying me, and then waking up at 2 a.m. to go to work at 3 now because I need to get my certain hours for my baby leave. So it's just like,
oh yeah, and the baby coming,
and
it's a lot.
My wife's a lawyer, and full-time lawyer, full-time mom.
Yeah.
And
what are you insinuating?
It's gonna be a shit show of a year. I mean, I'm insinuating that HIT.OR.DIE is gonna be on the back burner.
Bear with us.
Yeah,
there might be some solo stuff coming. Well, one-on-one stuff. We'll see.
Yeah.
Go follow on Twitter at HIT.OR.DIE Podcast, on Instagram at HIT.OR.DIE. Also go to YouTube and subscribe. You can get it on all the platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. Wanted to thank Fresno State Dugout Club for reaching out and getting us involved in their auction for the alumni weekend. Donated a couple hats and shirts, and awesome people. Been good to us. We've supported the scholarship fund for Bob Bennett, and just really good people that run that. And it was a pleasure, and I just appreciate them wanting to get us involved.
I think
pretty cool.
Our shirt and hat went for just over $1,000. It was like a little bit more than Aaron Judge's jersey, I think.
Well, awesome.
I mean, I'm not saying that I voted on it myself, but
and thank you to the people that did go on there and purchase. They did pretty darn well.
Yeah.
She sent me a message yesterday, so good for them, and thank you to all the Bulldog fans out there that helped out.
They just had their alumni game.
They did have their alumni game Saturday. The Dogs open up their season 2022 season February 18th. It's a Friday night at home against UC Riverside, so that'll be a fun weekend. JUCO baseball's fired up. You guys are 2 weeks in. What's Fresno City sitting at right now?
We're sitting at waiting for this Friday, to get after it again.
Okay. Hey, that's all that matters, right? Doesn't matter what's happened.
Hey, what happened. And as a whole, we aren't happy with the results so far, but we had a really good practice yesterday.
That's just part of being never satisfied.
No, true. I mean, there's a different standard at Fresno City than a lot of other junior colleges. So to live up to that standard, it's tough. I've been there. I've tried to live up to it. So. These guys worked really hard yesterday at practice. We have another good one. We have pretty good practice all week, and we're really excited. We got Chabot coming in town this weekend. Friday night at 6, Saturday at 1. If there are any Fresno City alum out there, please, we need you this weekend. I know Coach Scott doesn't like talking about it, but he's 2 wins away from the record of being the
winningest
coach in the state of California.
Or most wins.
Junior college.
Yeah. It's insane, man.
So Don Snedden from Santa Ana has the record of 1072. So Coach Scott's sitting at 1071 right now. So these next 2 are huge because we go on the road for 4. And obviously it'd be
nice to do it at home.
In front of the alumni, the fans,
if you're
supported.
If you're out there, go catch the Rams this weekend at home, and that'd be great, man, if you could get it done at home.
We should.
A little extra motivation for the guys. I'm sure they don't need it, but something to play for, and dude, how special is that? Just into that, because I know, you being an alumni at City and a part of a lot of those wins.
I think I was there for 600, the milestone, 600.
It's crazy, like now to be on staff, but even just like these players have a really special opportunity to do. I mean, this is. Like, it's a lot of wins, man, in a span of his career. Like, it's going to be a hard one to get to.
Yeah.
And he's going to win more than 2 games this year, the team is. And I know he contributes the success to the players.
And the coaches.
And the coaching staff and everybody that's been involved in all of his years there. That's just who he is. But he's going to separate himself a little bit more as far as wins go. And, that's pretty cool to be a part of that. I mean, how did you feel just being in the dugout and hopefully this weekend seeing that happen.
I mean, I'm honored, to be honest. You know, I was there for 1,000, not the game 1,000 because I think they did on the road, but they had alumni come back for right before a game after 1,000. So I went to that, and just being at that field, bringing back the memories of, you know, being there for 600. Like, that was such a long time, you know, 20 years ago almost. And, you know, now being on staff to be a part of the record, it means a lot to me. And, you know, it means a lot not only to be able to play for the Rams, but to coach there and be a part of this big milestone. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize, I mean, most do, but Solberg's been there the whole entire time.
Yeah.
So he's obviously the winningest assistant coach of all time. And, you know, Coach Scott will say it. He credits a lot of that to Coach Solberg, but, you know, sometimes as an assistant coach, that stuff gets overlooked. And I feel like that needs to be said. You know, Coach Solberg's been there for every single one for 33 years. And that's a testament. A lot of assistant coaches don't stick around that long.
No.
Yeah, it's just something that's going to be great to be a part of. I hope it's this weekend. You know, it just means more to do it
In Fresno.
In Fresno, you know, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, good luck this weekend, man. We're, you know, again, if you're available Friday night, what time?
6 p.m.
And then what time Saturday?
1:00.
You know, and he was pretty, I mean, he reached out even for me, you know what I mean? It's just stuff he doesn't have to do.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm pulling for him. Hopefully it gets done this weekend. That'd be great. I think COS is off to a 500 start, 3-3, I believe. Reedley's off to a hot start, 6-0. And I think you guys open with them come conference play
in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. So that'll be fun to see. Looks like they're playing real well. I think West Hills was 4-2 last time I checked.
Mm-hmm.
Saw some former Rams on that roster. So I'm just glad guys are continuing to want to play. So, yeah, JUCO baseball's fired up. The high school baseball's getting going. I think this weekend and next weekend, you'll have the Coke Classic coming up. Stick with your high school teams for that. And then some other baseball news. And there is baseball news, surprisingly enough. And I'm sure you were excited to see this. Longtime umpire Joe West has officially retired from his umpiring duties.
Yeah.
And say what you want. It's pretty impressive to be around the game that long.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at some of the numbers he had even in recent years, it's pretty consistent, and the numbers weren't too terrible.
Yeah.
But he also had a lot of moments where, you know,
he's Joe West.
One of those guys that tended to make it, you know, get involved when it's just not your job to get involved.
Yeah.
You know, you had a few moments with Bumgardner. I think, didn't he have one at third base with somebody? Who was that? Was that him?
I don't know. Wasn't he the one that made Beltre on deck circle?
No. He was there, I believe, but I don't think he's the one that tossed him. That's a great one.
Yeah.
But congrats to Joe West on a long career in Major League Baseball as an umpire. Do umpires go in the Hall of Fame? Has that ever happened? Is there an umpiring Hall of Fame?
He was a part of the steroid era, so he probably shouldn't be.
He should not get in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, let's see what the writers have to say about his umpiring. Yeah, I don't know if there. I should go look at that. Is there any umpires in the Hall of Fame?
They might have their own or something.
But having said that, his replacement is Roberto Ortiz. And Ortiz is the first-born Puerto Rican-born umpire to be made part of a full-time staff in Major League Baseball, which is kind of surprising, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it's obviously it's a challenge. It's hard to get into.
It's very hard to get into umpiring
and into the big leagues. So, yeah, first-born Puerto Rican umpire to get into Major League Baseball. So that's pretty awesome. Congrats to him. And the other thing I saw the other day was I think John Boy Media posted it out there about a guy or a baseball club commenting on Trout doing some front toss, critiquing the swing, and not even realizing it was Mike Trout.
How do you not realize that it's Mike Trout?
But is this part of the problem with things on social media? And I don't know if it was a guru. And honestly, what he was saying wasn't even that terrible. It's not. I had the tweet here. I'll go find what he was saying.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
That swing gives you 1 point of contact through the zone. Personally, I'll take a high average line drive hitters over a 150 average every once in a while, a home run all day. Line drives turn into backspin home runs. Uppercut swings are outs.
Which is
not all.
It's correct.
Yeah,
I mean what he's saying.
But how do you not know that's?
He's just talking about Mike Trout.
The response. So the follow up to that tweet was, "You realize that that's Mike Trout, right?" And the guy responded with his head in his hand, like, "No, I didn't." So, pretty interesting stuff there. But we're still in a lockout, and then it's been interesting stuff going out there in the news lately. Some players have been a little more outspoken. But first off, like, as a fan, like, where do you think baseball goes after this? Right? Because we're talking about dollars and cents and money and
I don't know.
Is there, like, you've struggled to get the audience you're trying to get. Who that is, I don't really know.
I feel like there hasn't been a struggle to get an audience.
They set the record for game times. It was like 3 hours and 11 minutes.
So what?
But I'm saying, like, they've done things to try to shorten. Like, it's not working. Mm-hmm. What they've done and what they're doing, it's not working. It hasn't worked. I feel like they're just pissing off fans by this. You know, the players know what they want, right? And listen, a couple of things was, you know, I think Scherzer mentioned player manipulating their time. How much of that was around, or did you see when you were playing? How much was that a thing?
I don't know, because it wasn't talked about really.
And I don't know what the union stuff. I mean, I just didn't pay attention. It was a kid. You don't pay attention to that stuff as a kid.
I didn't really notice it until pretty much after I was out, because you know, you had the Bryce Harper thing, like, when's he going to get to the big leagues, and when can he get to the big leagues, or like the Chris Bryant thing should have been. I mean, he was just minor league player of the year. He should have been in the big leagues, but we had to wait till May to bring him up to the big leagues. So his arbitration and this time, and, like, if the guy's good enough, what does it matter? Why doesn't he just come up? Like, he's a big league guy. Let him be in the big leagues. Why do you have to wait till May, whatever, so he's now, you know, didn't lose a year or the arbitration something, or, you know?
Well, yeah, or free agency. You're holding guys back from free agency, right? You're keeping them longer, essentially. Mm-hmm. I just think some of that shit's, you know, it's not a good business practice.
Yeah, I mean, why does it have to be? I mean, when you're in the minor leagues, it's not. You could be gone that year, that day, that whatever. When you get to the big leagues, they're saying you have to be with that team for 5 years or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, why does it have to be like that?
I'd be interested, too, to find out if it's ever backfired, right? Like a guy like Chris Bryant, who was minor league player of the year, or even Luplow was as well. One of these guys, to manipulate that time, gets an injury and suffers something pretty serious. And now you've messed yourself up long-term, because you know this guy is going to be here. Mm-hmm. But in order to cook the books a little bit, you keep him down. And then, you know, TJ happens.
I mean, I don't know. I still feel like if you're good enough to be up there, they should be up there. You shouldn't have to worry about, no, we have to wait. It's about winning ball games. If this guy's going to help your club and organization win ball games, then he needs to be up in the big leagues and help you do that. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. It's not, you know, oh, we need to wait for him. He's ready, but we need to wait for this. It's going to hurt, you know, our salary cap or whatever. You know, I mean, so all that stuff needs to be talked about and negotiated. And
yeah, but you mentioned winning ball games, and, like, I don't know if you're paying attention to much of the Brian Flores stuff in the NFL. The coach who was let go by Miami had a shit show of an interview process, quote unquote interview process, with the Giants, where Belichick kind of texted him, "Hey, congrats on the job," and he's like, I haven't interviewed yet, and it was another Brian that had gotten the job in New York, and But he come out and said, like, while he was in Miami, the owner mentioned paying him $100,000 a loss to lose. Like, you know, I'm not saying that stuff goes on in baseball, but
well, another coach came out and said they were offered that too.
Right,
the Browns,
in
the Browns coach.
Cleveland,
yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. Like you should be out of the game. Like if that's all comes out as legit and it's proven and like.
But who gets in trouble? The head coach.
Well, he lost his job.
That's what I'm saying. Is like he's being told to lose. The fans are mad you're losing, so they're blaming the coach and then the coach gets fired. But sometimes it's actually the owners and stuff that dictate stuff. I mean, it's just like minor league baseball.
Yeah, the GMs get fired.
The GMs dictate a lot of the play and who plays.
Yeah, the managers doesn't have
a lot of times the minor league managers don't have a say in the lineup, depending on what level you're at. I mean, when we had Manzo on here, he could write a lineup, but if they wanted somebody in at this time or this pitcher and that, he went by what they wanted.
It's got to be so difficult to do you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
That's what I mean. Talking to Batesall, he's had so many opportunities to be in professional baseball, but being in professional baseball means you are taking what they give you. You aren't allowed.
How much teaching are you really doing?
Exactly. You're really not.
You're maintaining guys, and I don't know. I can't speak on it because I've never done it.
I mean, there are some that are, teaching stuff, but a lot of these guys, they're out doing their thing and have their own hitting instructors. And, you have a hitting coach that is on the ball club, but they mainly go off of what you want to do. Obviously they see and can do adjustments and like suggest things, but
they track everything now.
Yeah,
they have all the data and they monitor all that stuff. Like, it's interpreting that data and finding fixes within that. And I get, not all of the hitting coaches were hitters.
Yeah.
They know how to analyze and break down.
Not all pitching coaches were pitchers, and they're going off of these analytics guys that can run numbers, and they can or trainers, physical that know the body, and like they're going off of that. And I still feel like you need somebody that's done it, maybe not at the highest level. You need somebody that understands hitting, understands pitching, understands throwing, hand placement, all that kind of. You need somebody to understand that. You can't just take somebody that's never played this game before and be like, oh, you need to rotate 20% more.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, and I think there's definitely learnable things, right? I've never been a guy, and I've said this before, one that's like, because you didn't play here, you're not capable of teaching or coaching at a certain level. I don't believe that. I really don't. I know the Yankees hired the first female manager in professional baseball. And looking at her credentials, man, she's been around. She's been in the big leagues or in major league organizations for 10 years. What she knows or doesn't know, it's not for me to say. Is she good at what she does? I don't know. Am I going to bash because she's a female? Absolutely not. I wouldn't want for that for my daughter to think she's not capable of doing something. But before they praise her or they talked about the path to the big leagues, that there's an example of that. And I'm not trying to knock her. I've heard nothing but amazing things about her. She hasn't been in a box and seen what some of those guys have seen. How she can relate that knowledge, I don't know. But again, I've heard nothing but great things. But also they were talking about path to the big leagues. Well, let's go win. You got to win. You don't win, you lose your job in most cases. But that's another instance where I feel like, because she's a female or she played D1 softball, she could be an outstanding coach. And if she goes and wins, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to limit somebody's playing ability or playing time to how good they are as a coach. I just don't agree with that type of stuff. I don't know we haven't even talked about that, to be honest. We kind of didn't skip. We haven't even brought it up or skipped it.
I mean, we both have wives that their jobs are in a man's job. It's
typically a male dominated field.
Yes. And our wives are really high up in where they work.
Yeah.
And they've earned that and have worked their way up. And I'm all for it. I'm all for women being in whatever job they done, whatever. But did they earn it? Did they earn it, or are they put there to prove a point or to be the show pony for everybody to see?
I hope not.
That's
it's the
that's where I come
no,
from.
for sure. And it's the Yankees. Like, you would hate to think that an organization with that much tradition and history would make a move like that.
I don't know.
Is there some publicity? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
You got to question it.
You have to question.
You got to question it.
And it's just because I don't know her. I haven't seen her credentials and for playing, and I know she played softball, but how is she going to be able to? And I know she speaks Spanish. She worked in the was it the Dominican or Puerto Rican?
Yeah, I believe so. It's been a couple weeks since I looked up all that stuff.
But how can she relate to a baseball player facing a slider or something? I mean, that's the only thing that I'm looking at as a player, because I played at a high level, is how can she relate to me or understand what I'm going through?
I
don't. Then again, there are managers that didn't play at high levels,
absolutely,
and do the same thing, but maybe we don't question it because they're males,
right? Well, you look at softball, right? So softball's got a lot of male coaches that probably could not do what they're not going to do what Courtney was able to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it works both ways. But more sort of the point is of, be careful of the things maybe you say or criticize certain people or coaches just because of the level they played at.
Yeah.
It's not the end all be all. While it helps, I don't think you're limited to that only or that alone. But back to, we got a little tangent there. Back to the lockout stuff. One of the things that they were disagreeing on is I think the owners or the players the owners want the expanded playoffs. Again, revenue based, making more money.
Which I agree with that.
But the other thing I saw was advertisements on jerseys and helmets.
That's stupid.
I know they do it in other countries.
But a lot of those countries need that to pay for the facilities.
Correct. They're not averaging 40,000 fans. On a bad night, you're getting 25,000 people in a stadium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On a weekend, the Giants had like 3 straight seasons of sellouts or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I just think that looks bad. Like, I don't, who wants to see Tampax across the chest of the Dodgers uniform?
Well, you're seeing it on the
besides
mound.
Every Giants fan,
you're seeing it on the mound. Like, if you want that ad revenue, okay,
those are just on TV.
Yeah, they're digital.
Yeah. Because I was like, hold up,
or the green screens behind home plate.
Yeah, it's all fake for when you're there, but like you see it on TV.
You see it on TV. Yeah. Like, there's other ways to do the ad revenue, I guess. I don't know. Putting it on the uniforms, like, I don't want to see something on the Yankees pinstripes.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not.
I mean, instead of your last name, you got Me and Ed's, like us in Little League. It's who you play for? Me and Ed's. Sponsored by Me and Ed's.
What is the bail bonds from Bo Peep's bail bonds or something like that from
Bull Durham?
No, is it? Oh my God, Bad News Bears, something like that. I don't know. There's stuff like that's been brought up, and I just hope they come to agreement to figure this out. Like, you're going to continue this lockout, and you're going to turn into now missing some spring trainings next week, right? They report next week, or supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So what, do you end up with a shortened season now? If they don't get something figured out, they want federal mediation, and I think the players said no. We don't need. What's on the table is fair now, and you're not negotiating, right? It's just a no from the owners.
Well, what's on the table from the players?
I'd have to go read it all, but from enough sources, it's fair. But again, it's the business, man. It's everything now. It's every sport. It's nothing's pure anymore.
Well, the only good thing that could come from this, if the Major League Baseball doesn't play, is that hopefully we can see some more college baseball. Because I think college baseball is more exciting to watch than the big league baseball. Just like college sports in general, probably. I mean, NFL football is good to watch. The Pro Bowl is not, but NFL football is intense, but college baseball is definitely some of the best baseball you can watch. As for, I mean, when you're looking at fundamentals, hard 90s, getting dirty, going the extra just to make a play, and you don't see big leaguers. I mean, you see big leaguers, but they don't do it every time. They're not hard 90 on a ground ball.
I mean, I think we've mentioned it. We all agree that playoff baseball is
playoff baseball. There's nothing like MLB playoff baseball.
It's fun baseball.
The best of the best playing the way they should for 162. They play for the playoffs. That's why I don't mind the extended playoff. It's great baseball. That's the best time to watch MLB.
Now, I don't know if it's extended like they did the COVID season. And that also was only a 60-game regular season where, their bodies weren't too bad. But
no, I mean, that's why
you're
winning
adding
the World Series and that didn't 60-game season.
You will never lift the pedal on that.
No.
No, nor should you.
Until they say the Astros won fair and square.
Yeah, okay, well, that's probably not going to happen.
Well,
so
it probably won't happen.
Yeah. So I get your point.
But, I mean,
I catch what you're throwing.
I mean, the other thing, the Dodgers did lose 6 and 7 at home.
They
only had to win one.
Those are facts.
So
those are facts. The story broke also within the lockout, though, that MLB has stopped testing for steroids or PED testing. And the headline was worded in such a way that it's like there is no testing for steroids anymore.
No.
And it's like, well, that's not the case.
The contract's up. They're going to sign a new contract.
The CBA was expired, and when that happened with no new agreement, they stopped testing. It's not that when the new agreement's in place, they'll be testing. So, like, nobody's out there risking, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's on the market that in 3 months you can test negative for. I don't know. Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, they could test you now, though. They told us when we left that you can get a call and you have to go test somewhere. Somebody might show up at your door and test you.
I don't think they can right now.
No, not right now. But when the testing comes back, the contract,
yes,
then they can. So it's not like, I could take whatever I want. Hopefully it's gone by spring training.
I guess the point was the article was worded a little clickbaity and in the depth of it.
Go figure. It's a story.
Guys are not. Well, yeah, I clicked on it. Guys are not out there pumping steroids,
and we don't know that.
I would imagine they're not.
Yeah.
But again, we're waiting on this lockout to end to see what happens. They can't not have another season. They can't have another 2020. I just don't see it.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll start seeing pickup games.
And if they can, that tells me one thing. They got plenty of money. Mm-hmm. If you can do this twice in 3 years, you got plenty of money. Money's not the problem.
No.
Greed's the problem.
Money's never been the problem.
Because what happened in
Can you imagine how many baseballs they go through?
Major League Baseball?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the batting practice balls that get hit in the home runs, all the balls that get tossed out from the game for one time being in the dirt. I mean, they're playing with pearls the entire game. When we took batting practice in spring training, we had pearls like almost every day. Like the amount of baseballs that MLB, which probably purchased for the MILB as well, I would think, the amount of money they spend on baseballs alone is ridiculous.
I would love to know that number.
I would too. I mean, it's got to be in the millions.
Because they were complaining about what was being lost at that time, right? The owners, they were talking about the money they were losing. Well, if you can afford to do this twice, I mean, you can't cry wolf again.
No.
This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to get to is you had put some numbers together on like strikeout numbers, extra base hits, like the last episode we'd done. And we forgot to move some decimal points.
I mean, but still.
But I mean, I want to be accurate with it.
So we did Barry Bonds' stats by the numbers. So I went in and redid them all and moved the decimals where they're supposed to be. And we actually did percentage per plate appearance and percentage per at bat. So Barry Bonds had played in 2,986 games, and which he had 29 and 35 hits. He almost had a hit a game. He had 12,606 plate appearances and 9,847 at bats. He had 2,935 hits, 2,935 hits. The percentage he got a hit per plate appearance was 23%, and per at bat was 29.8%, which makes sense because his batting average was 298. Yeah. So 29.8% of the time of his at bats, Barry Bonds got a hit. He had 15.2% of those hits were singles. 6% were doubles. He had 601. 1% were triples at 77. And the most home run hitter of all time at 762, 8% of his at-bats were home runs, which I know we said we had the decimal at 0.08.
Less than one, yeah.
We had it 0.08, and I was like, oh, that's not.
That's
like, wait, we're doing that. We're moving it over for the other ones. We got to move it over for this one.
We just kept thinking like there's no less than 1%.
Yeah, less than 1%.
Doesn't make sense.
And then, so 8% still. The best home run hitter of all time, 8%. So even then, we're talking about teaching these kids.
Let's round it up. You rounded that up, right? It wasn't 8 even. It was 7 something.
It was 8 because it was 0.08
okay.
4 or something like that. So I kept it at the 0.0. I kept it at 8%.
Just trying to make sure we're getting the right stuff out there. But having said that and going through.
Or did I round it up? Was it 0.7 something?
It was, I think. I think we rounded it up.
But even extra base hits, right? We want to teach extra base hits. Only 14.6% combined home runs, doubles, and triples. Only 14.6% is extra base hits out of his at bats.
Still less than
singles at 15.2. And this is a guy that batted 298. So he failed just over more than 7 times out of 10, right? Because we talk about 7 out of 10 times you're Hall of Fame.
3 out of 10.
So, and he walked 26% of the time. He struck out 16% of the time. It's just like, so I'm like, okay, let's do Babe Ruth, right? Babe Ruth had 8,398 at bats. So a little bit less than Barry Bonds. He had 2,873 hits. His batting average was 342. So he got a hit 34.2% of the time, which is ridiculous. He had 18% singles at 1,517. 6% doubles at 506. He had 136 triples, believe it or not, Babe Ruth, which was 1%. And at 714 home runs, we are still at 8% for Babe Ruth. So the third home run hitter of all time is.
So if 8%. You double the amount of home runs, it's right at his amount of base hits.
Yeah. No, because 8 would be 16. His singles were 18.
His singles were 18. So it'd still be less.
So
which extra 1,400 home runs.
So the extra base hits, he had 1,356 of those. Was still at 16.1% compared to his 18% singles. Let's go even further. And looking at these numbers.
Yeah, do this.
Hank Aaron.
Do this one.
Hank Aaron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Griffey kind of surprised me with his numbers. Even though he's still my favorite player of all time, he's definitely not in the top.
Well, I think this, for me, because this, finish with this.
Hank Aaron numbers solidify.
To me, it does.
Me too. That he is the greatest player to ever play the game.
To date. Let's say to date.
Yeah.
Today, as of today, Hank Aaron is the greatest baseball player of all time.
Yes.
As of today.
1%. 100%.
100.
Okay. So he played in 3,298 games. He had 13,940 plate appearances and 12,364 bats. So he had almost 3,000 more at bats than Barry Bonds, and a little under that, or more than that for Babe Ruth, actually. He had 3,771 hits.
He had almost 1,000 more, 700 more hits than Bonds.
Yes. And
roughly.
Then Babe Ruth, actually. Babe Ruth
Well,
had 28.
Bonds was at 29 something.
Yeah, but Babe Ruth was at 28 something.
So nearly 1,000 more than Babe Ruth.
Yeah. So he had 2,294 singles. So he had more singles than Barry Bonds had hits.
Yeah, total hits.
More singles than Barry Bonds had hits. And guess what?
If you took all his home runs away, right? He had, what is it?
If he took all his home runs away, he'd still have 3,000 hits. Take all his home runs away. So he had 3,771 hits, which it came out to a 305 average, which came out to 30.5%. He got a hit 30.5% of the time per at bat. He had 2,294 singles, which was more singles than hits for Bonds, which came out to 18.6% of his hits were singles. 5% doubles at 624. 0.8%. Here we go. We're under 1% here because this was 0.008. Mm-hmm. So 0.8%, less than 1% were triples at 98. 755 home runs. So the second leading home run hitter of all time was actually 6%, less than Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds. He hit less percentage of home runs than Barry Bonds and Babe Ruth due to the fact he had that many more at-bats and plate appearances. At 6%. So extra base hits, right? So remember, singles were 18.6%. You add up all his extra base hits. So the second most home runs of all time. You're still at 11.9% of the time he got an extra base hit. What are we doing?
Yeah, we're focusing on the smaller number.
Their K percentage. Let's do that. He struck out 11% of the time. Babe Ruth, which everybody says was a big strikeout guy, he really wasn't. Especially compared to this day and age. He struck out 18.2% of the time. Barry Bonds was 15.8% of the time. Now, talking about Mike Trout, let's take Mike Trout's numbers real quick. Let's do that because he's considered the best player right now. Right?
Yes. Well, yes, there's been a story that broke that I saw that he was like now ranked, per some writers, the 6th best outfielder in the game.
Okay, so, and just because he is, we did his numbers from right now, okay? He gets a hit 30.5% of the time. He has a 305 career batting average right now. He has 792 singles, which is 17%. 6% of doubles, 1% of triples. And at 310 home runs, he is at 7% as a home run.
It's a lot of similarity I see.
Extra base hits, 13.5%. So you're still 4%, 3.5% less. And I know it's like 3.5%. No, what we're getting at is everybody hits more singles than a combined extra base hits. That's what I'm getting at here. So why are we trying to hit the lower number? Because you're not aiming for the 13.5% of the extra base hits. You're not aiming for that number because that's 3 numbers combined.
Right.
Let's just get a hit.
Right.
I just want to get a hit.
Yeah.
That's the highest percentage I have is just try to – that's why we say hit a hard ground ball somewhere.
Well, and hitting a single is, for the lack of a better term, easier. Right, it's easier to hit
Obviously, a triple is the hardest statistic as an offensive category.
And the more at-bats you have, the smaller that percentage is obviously going to be.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think you're right.
But let's see his K percentage right now.
And this is going to be the difference in that extra base hit number. That 3%, it's coming from your strikeouts.
Yes. So, Mike Trout, 26.1% strikeouts. Which the highest we had was Babe Ruth at 18%. But he's played in way more games and at-bats and plate appearances.
Well, and that strikeout number is not going to go down.
I mean, Aaron Judge's strikeout was 35.4%. Almost half. And he's one of the superstars of this game. That's what I'm saying is, like, go hit. Go be a hitter. Stop trying to get the 6%, the 1%, the 7%, because that's for the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
The high school players and the college players, that percentages are lower.
Yeah.
So you're a high school kid trying to be like these guys? It's going to be impossible.
Yeah, stop.
Like, let's go hit.
Yeah.
You know, and I did Pete Rose. You know, he had 4,256 hits, which will never be broken. He got a hit 30.3% of the time. He had 3,215 singles, which was 22.9%.
And he didn't hit a lot of bombs.
No. His home run, he actually hit 160, and it was at 1% of the time he hit a home run. 1% he hit triples. 5% he hit doubles. But guess what? He scored 61% of the time.
Yeah. I would encourage people to go look at all. They're all up there to see. Go break them down. It's fun to do. Honestly, I enjoy like seeing why these guys were how they were and how good they were. What made them good. You can break some of that down by numbers. Obviously, there's intangibles that they have that others don't or didn't. But it's fun to go see the numbers. And I think, you know, there's a lot of truth into guys taking that lower number. There's not a lot of success there.
Not a lot of success.
Right? If I told you had a 18% chance of winning the lotto versus 8%, which were you going to pick?
18.
You're going to take the 18%.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. No different.
And that's what I love when, you know, talking to Batesall and stuff and like talking percentages, right? He's big on percentages and numbers. And analytics has been going on forever. You know, Batesall told me he's got at bats from when he was at Northridge, and, you know, the percentages that he does with his hitting and stuff, everything goes into it. And it's just like, you will always take the higher percentage. You will never why would you take anything less? So when you get to 2 strikes and there's 80% chance they're going away, are you going to take the 20% that they come in? No.
Of course not.
Because then you'll just be striking out on 80% away. Not battling, looking for that 20% in. It makes no freaking sense. So why are we, as hitting coaches, as baseball instructors, as gurus, as whatever you want to call it, why are we trying to make it more difficult on this younger generation of hitters when it's already the hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a baseball coming at you, not knowing which way it's moving or even what he's throwing for that matter? Why are we trying to make it more difficult rather than, you know what, let's just go hit the ball. Let's put it in play. Let's make something happen. Let's make the defense work for the out. Let me hit the ball on the ground and run a hard 90 and make him have to try to field it good and make a good throw. Why are we trying to just hit a home run or I strike out and it's okay if you struck out? It's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay if you strike out. Like nobody is. It's not okay. And the big leaguers do it. The big leaguers are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to do what they do. If you want to get to that level, you're not going to have the numbers they have. They're not going to draft a guy that's batting 230 that strikes out almost 50% of the time. They're going to be like, he strikes out too much, which this is what really pisses me off. They want guys that put the ball in play and get hits and have high batting averages and drive in runs. But then once we get to the big leagues, that's not what we want anymore as organizations. We just want guys to hit home runs. You know what I mean? That's what makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
But they're not drafting those guys because guess what? Those guys don't play at that level.
Yeah, the game's different, man. I don't. That's why I'm asking to talk about the lockout. Like the product needs to change, right? I saw a thing on pitchers. I think it was, starting there. Like in 2011, there were 39 pitchers who worked 200 innings. So 10 years ago, 11 years ago. A decade later now, this last year, there were 4. 4 guys. Like people, and they talked about how guys went to go watch that starting pitcher, that ace. If it wasn't a Griffey, it was Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, Pedro.
Guess what? They're going to try to go CG every game and try to strike everybody out.
People pay to go watch Max Scherzer pitch.
They don't want Max going 5.
Verlander's
another guy that goes deep. Those guys still go deep. I mean, I'm with you.
I'm just saying that you're talking about why is it in the minors different than it is when we get to the main. The product it's just not the same.
That's like saying, you know what? Barry's only going to hit in the first 3 innings. And then we're going to bring in another left fielder that's going to play the next 3 innings. And then what?
I think the average amount of pitchers used was at an all-time high at like 4.5 a game.
Really? I would have thought more than that.
To play 9, it was like 4.49 or 4.5 or something.
Jeez.
Per 9 innings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. I love that, and I think if you're a coach out there, and that's one thing to relay to your younger guys, like, you know, the proof's there. Just go look at the numbers. That's all. Just go break them down for yourself. You know, we've talked about this a bunch of times. You finally posted it today. And I even said, like, you have finally posted what you've been saying for the last 3 years regarding JUCO players. And I don't think it's a knock. I think it was, well, you got hit up by a burner, though.
Yeah, I was a burner.
You took the bait, bro. You took the bait. Burner.
We know who it is, too.
Well, just go follow. You could at least follow us. You're going to burn and troll my bro here. You could at least follow the podcast.
Or, I mean, don't be the only person to like the other comments either.
But, I mean, like, what? You talking about JUCO guys.
Let me get this straight. California junior college baseball. By far, California, Florida, and Texas, the best junior college baseball in the country. California is the only state that doesn't give scholarships to junior colleges. All the other states can give players scholarships. They can pay for your school. They can put you up in a dorm. They can give you money. They can do whatever scholarship-wise for junior college. We don't do that here in California. Why? I don't know. We should. But you have these kids, and I get it. I'm not saying you can't be happy going to a junior college. I went to a junior college. I loved it. It was the best time of my life. You ask anybody on my team in 2004, 2005, it was the best time we ever had. We were proud to be JUCO guys. And that's where I think people think I'm attacking, but I'm not. I am that guy. I am a JUCO guy. And you should be happy continuing to play after high school. You should. But the fact is, my boy Jake here just turned 39 years old and has just as much eligibility to a junior college as anybody in high school right now.
I got one better. I'll take it a step further. My younger brother, who's never played organized baseball in his life, could go and post his commitment to a junior college.
Yes.
That's your
point.
He
can go try out.
Your point, not that it's not a good thing.
No. It's not. Why do you need to post that?
But it's not the same as Fresno State offering you to play baseball to Division I.
Yeah. I mean, I could go tell anybody that I want you to come to Fresno City. Since I'm a coach, I can recruit that way. I want you to come to Fresno City.
I mean, I'm not trying to knock it. I'm really not. I'm not. You know,
I'm fine with you going to a junior college. That's what people don't understand. There's people who think I'm selfish or something. I've been there. I've gone through all the steps. I know what it looks like.
Yeah, but people today don't like to hear it.
No, they don't like to hear it.
They don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear the truth. But it still is. It's about me wanting to tell everybody about myself. I'm doing this. I am going here. Yeah, but you can go there and not make the team. If you're committed to a university, a 4-year, you're probably on scholarship. You're going to be on the team. They're going to keep you.
Or at least recruited.
Yeah.
You know, you can walk on, but even some walk-ons are recruited walk-ons. I mean, it's...
And that you're still not guaranteed to make the team.
Exactly. No, you're not.
So I just feel like at a junior college, especially in California, being committed to a junior college is it's kind of like, so what?
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah. It's not.
I'm not taking anything. I am that guy. I am a JUCO player. I'm a JUCO bandit, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm not against that. I'm for junior college baseball. I think more people should go to junior college baseball than go to some Division III, some Division II. Not all of them, but some, because you will have a better opportunity going to a junior college for a year or two to maybe get to that D1 that everybody wants to, or a better D2 or a better D3, whatever you want. But it still gives you that opportunity going to a junior college. So I'm all about going to junior college. I think it's more beneficial for some guys rather than going to a 4-year and sitting. You know, you can go to JUCO and play. So I'm all for that. But why don't you just keep it to yourself and go do the work and grind out a scholarship somewhere? Because I'm even against all that commitment stuff kind of too. You know that. I think it's a little overboard. But that at least makes more sense because you're getting a scholarship to go there and be a part of that program. That's what I think the JUCO bandit term is. It's like the grimy JUCO guy that has to fend for himself.
Yeah, there's a little more grit.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of that, but that's nothing to
you wear it with pride.
Post all over the place.
There's more pride there. There's more chip on your shoulder. There's more to prove.
Go prove it. Go prove something.
Like,
why do you have to tell everybody what you proved? Why can't you let somebody else tell everybody else about you? Which comes to a thing that you wanted to do.
Yeah, well, no, I saw, and you said you retweeted it. It was Joe.
I shared it on Facebook.
I think Devontae Adams mentioned something similar a month or two back, and Joe Burrow came out and somebody said, what advice would he have or give to a younger athlete today? And he just said, don't have a workout and go post it on Instagram. Work in silence. I mean, it's simple. And, I get wanting to share positive moments. You hit a bomb. You hit a bomb. All right, you post it. It's what it is. Like,
yeah,
I'm not
but don't
trying
go
to
tag every school in the country. Yeah. And don't hashtag it uncommitted.
Yeah, I'm not trying to. Listen, I'm a pretty positive guy. Okay. And I love to see kids have success. And I told you, like, this last weekend, there was a dinner for me, and I was uncomfortable posting stuff about it. It's kind of cringy for me to do. Because I know over the 20 years of coaching how many people have played a role in that journey. Okay? I was thinking about it, and I'm like, man, I would love for players or to challenge like high school players this year. Like, go out of your way to praise your teammates first
on social media.
Yeah, before yourself. Like, if your team, like, and that's the thing. I guess you lose the game, right? Friday night you lose in a track, whatever team it is. But you had a pretty good game. I was 2 for 3.
Don't post that
with a walk and 3 RBIs, a home run.
Don't post that.
Don't post it. Let your coach post the stats for the game. Because you lost. What you did, that
doesn't matter.
Well, it's good. Hey, good for you. Go home and be proud of that. But wake up the next morning realizing we lost last night. That my 2 for 3 or 3 for 4 didn't help our team win. It wasn't enough. We didn't do enough to win. Because one of those, you're going to have a game where you didn't do enough and somebody else went 3 for 4.
And you won.
Or you lost. Either way, it takes all these guys pulling the rope the same way.
Yep.
Go praise your teammates first. Go put your pitcher on a pedestal for a game. Dude went 6. 1 earned run. 5, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just challenge yourself to go, you hear, team above self or team first, or we had that at C-Dub. We were TAS, baby, all day. I think what's Buchanan's?
I don't know.
They have one too. I think we had one in Madera. Everybody's got their version or saying of it. Well, live that. Be that. Before it's yours. I mean, that's you. If you can get to that, if your team is that, like, bought in, You're dangerous, man. That's dangerous. And don't do it at practice. Leave your cell phones in your cars. I went out to a practice the other day, and there was 6 kids. And I asked, age groups, and they were older kids. And I'm like, they're older, but I mean seniors, starters, texting, walking on the field. Don't do that. Leave your phone. You're there, leave it there. You're there to work. When you step on the field, the process has begun. If you're walking on the field to change with phone in hand, you're not ready to work that day. Mm-hmm. And so when you say soft and stuff like that, that's what I think about. Like the mentality. We had this episode. Your mentality has to be different. David Goggins, I've talked about it, and he's just a different animal, man. But you're going to be misunderstood. If greatness is what you strive for and to be the best at whatever it is you're getting into, you're going to be misunderstood. People aren't going to like you. You're going to be a motherfucker. It's going to take that. You may sacrifice some relationships in that process. Well, maybe they weren't supposed to be there. Maybe those relationships would have held you up to get where you wanted to get. Just be a guy. I challenge you younger guys to be a guy for your team, right? That's all. I want to see more of that. More team stuff. We say it a lot. You got to live it, though. That's how you win.
Yep.
I saw a team that was not the best team I've ever coached last year, but we're together. And through the schedule we had, knew when it came time to go win, they were ready. And they wanted it. They all were on the same page, man. I've never seen anything like it. And you've been there. I don't remember what 13 was like. And I don't know if 13 was the best team you'd ever coached. But for some reason, all those guys, when it came time to go, they were all go together. Mm-hmm. There were no outliers.
Got rid of them.
So, yeah, just challenge the younger guys, man. Be a good team guy. Like we talked about in the beginning, this weekend could be a monster weekend for the Rams. We're pulling for Coach Scott. Try to get that record done this year.
This weekend.
This weekend.
It's going to get done
It's going to get done this year, my bad.
I mean, if we only win
well,
2 games.
What? Having in 2020, it would have been done already.
Yeah, it would have been done.
It would have happened last year.
They had a full 2020, it would have happened last year. Or it would have happened in 2020 even, so.
Stay tuned. I appreciate everybody being patient with us. I'm trying not to do this without Chad. Me and Chad just feed off each other. This is just natural for us. It's more fun for me to have him here. I will maybe bring some guests on and do some one-on-one stuff like that when he's not available. But I just prefer Chad here, and that's kind of why it's been hiatus every other week we're doing a podcast, just because he's really not available. But I appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody staying patient. And, I mean, the downloads have not stopped. It's so freaking awesome.
Still number one.
I really do appreciate all of you guys. It's awesome, man. And, again, if there's any feedback or you have anything you want to get involved in or a topic you want to bring up to us, please go reach out on social media. Again, we appreciate all the support. Love you guys. That is episode 147, the Hit or Die podcast.
Hit or Die.